and tells us how they began the process of acquiring the necessary funds.
El Paso was awarded some UASC funds, Urban Area Strategic Initiative funds, for 2008, and one of the items that we put in our grant was for a fusion center, so we can start up a tactical fusion center.
One Lincoln 31.
One Lincoln 31.
One Lincoln 31, 1097.
The reason why we went for a fusion center is we were looking for information to get down to the operations. A lot of the intelligence community is more strategic on that side, so the information that the officer needed on the street, we just didn't have a resource for them to get that information.
Now, you may think that it takes millions of dollars to start up a fusion center, but that's not necessarily true. Chief Pasillas says that their funding was nowhere near what larger cities would have, but they are making it work.
If we wanted to do something like the Chicagos and the New Yorks over here, you're talking multi-million-dollar complexes or operation centers. What we started out with on ours is $900,000. That's what we were awarded on the first go-around. The second award that we received for the 2008 UASC was another $1 million. So we're working with a significantly less amount than what the larger Department of Chicago's, LA's, and New York's are.
In order to use this money effectively, Assistant Chief Pasillas and Assistant Chief Jerome Johnson began seeking advice from others around the country.
We went out of town to various seminars to educate ourselves and to talk to people, to find out what problems they encountered and obstacles they overcame when they were starting their fusion center. And we saw pictures of Fusion Center, even went to visit one, and a couple, and it's amazing how people learn from other people. We just keep learning from each other, and then the next one that's built is probably better than the last one that they saw because they know what equipment now to ask for.
Not too far away from that child left in the vehicle, all being around.
We're going to start out with 5 analysts, civilian analysts, and ours is going to be a little bit different than some other operations that we've seen around the country. Some are typically manned or staffed by uniformed personnel, commissioned police officers, or they're typically staffed by civilians. What we're going to do is ours is going to be staffed with a combination of civilian analysts tied into our intelligence detectives, so we have that mesh. So the analyst who's not a commissioned officer might be looking at something a lot differently than commissioned officers, and we get the best of both worlds there. We as police officers might get stuck on a track and just keep on going, and you have a civilian come in and say, hey, why don't you try this? This is what we're seeing in our analysis. So it gives us a new perspective, and vice versa. That intelligence detective or officer can tell bring the civilian up to a status at law enforcement. They understand the law enforcement process.
At the time we spoke to El Paso officials, their fusion center was still months from opening. But one advantage that El Paso has on other departments is that they already have a good working relationship with many local, state, and federal agencies. DEA, FBI, ICE, and of course Border Patrol have a heavy presence in the region, and they often work together on joint operations.
Border Patrol is a large uniform presence here. Overnight, when they went to Operation Hold the Line, that cut down our crime rate in El Paso significantly. We used to walk beats with them downtown. When they did that Hold the Line, that stopped that. But we still work with them very closely, especially on the intelligence side. They work the illegal immigration side, something that we will not enforce. That's a federal issue. But if they're bringing in contraband, we can do that. So we're working in partnership with them. They have a large air wing with the CBP, so that helps us out. Something that we have a small aviation unit, they have a large one that can help us out.
While the events taking place in Juarez are not new to local law enforcement, the level of violence has everyone concerned. The audio that you are hearing is an actual gun battle that took place on the streets across the border. These pictures were taken at the same time.
One of the biggest issues that we're facing down here on the international border is the fight right now for the Juarez Plaza, which is a corridor, is basically what it is, on how drugs come up from Mexico. Last year in 2008, over 1,600 murders directly related to the cartels. one side fighting against the other. Currently, right now, we're in April, and we have over 400 murders just in 2009 on that side.
The violence of itself, just the way some people are killed over there, I'd hate for that to spill over here. If some of those DTOs, drug trafficking organizations, are crossed, they will not only kill other DTO members, but they'll kill their own members as well. And the way that they're killed is very vicious.
To prove how powerful the cartels have become, they have been known to enter hospitals in Mexico to finish off their victims that survived the initial hit. They have even gone so far as to announce that if any paramedic or EMT tries to save one of their targets, they too will be shot dead in the streets. They are well organized and they can outgun law enforcement whenever they want.
We can't keep up with them just on the weapons that they have. On our side, we're struggling to get patrol rifles out to our officers out there in the field, where in Juarez, these cartel hit squads, I mean, they can have whatever weapon they want.
What we're doing about it is making sure that our officers are aware of this information. We're sharing information with our federal and state counterparts. We are conducting single and co-joint operations at and around the bridges, and our officers are looking for certain types of drugs and then weapons and ammunition as well.
While the violence has not spilled over into El Paso, the need for up-to-date information is evident.
Once again, we have these trafficking corridors set up by the organized crime on the Mexican side. So our officers are dealing with that on a daily basis. So they might see something. It might not really mean anything to us as a police department, stopping individuals, getting their information, and alert police officers, I need to push this to somebody. So he pushes it up to the fusion center, and with our federal counterparts in there, we have a detective in the Joint Terrorism Task Force assigned to our intelligence, sees that information. So no, this needs to get pushed up as quickly as they can to the federal side, and it pushes it in. So now it's getting moved up to the bigger picture, so that piece to that puzzle keeps on being added. So that's how it is with the uniforms. And with that many uniforms out there, the locals, the sheriffs and the small agencies and El Paso Police Department, that just helps out the whole nation.
Whether it's El Paso, Texas, or your hometown, information sharing is the key to effective policing. Fusion centers are a unique tool that will change the way law enforcement operates, helping to making your job safer and the communities you serve a better place to live.
We'd like to thank the officers and staff of the Dallas Police Department and the El Paso Police Department for their assistance in making this program. As we make our world a better place, a safer place, it's important for us to understand that the ways of the old don't work anymore. It's important to share information, and this is particularly true between federal, state, and local agencies. Make sure you read your courseware. Thank you, and let's be safe out there.